Queensland fruit fly is a significant pest for home gardeners and urban farmers because it infests many of our fruit and vegetable crops, making them inedible. And despite its name, it's now a serious pest in parts of Victoria, including recent outbreaks here in Darebin. And many Darebin residents enjoy being able to harvest their own homegrown produce from their backyard veggie patches, fruit trees, nature strip gardens or community gardens. But these fruit flies can wreak havoc in our garden, destroying the produce that we've worked so hard to grow. So it's extremely important that all Darebin fruit growers are aware of how to identify this pest and control it before it gets established in this area. This is an adult Queensland fruit fly. It's about 7 millimetres long and a reddish brown colour with distinctive yellow markings. The female fruit fly lays her tiny eggs into a host fruit or vegetable. These eggs hatch into creamy yellow maggots, about 9 millimetres long, who feed on the fruit and chew their way out. They pupate in the ground and emerge as flying adults, ready to begin the cycle again. The fruit fly spreads easily and quickly from infested fruit and vegetable crops, or by people sharing homegrown produce. And although infested fruit may look fine from the outside, on the inside they may be rotten or contain hidden eggs or maggots. The good news is that you can take steps to manage it before it spoils your crops and then spreads to your neighbours. Monitoring traps are one way to tell if there are adult fruit flies around. Hang the traps amongst the leaves of fruit trees, out of direct sunlight, and in places like your veggie patch and compost areas. There are different types of Queensland fruit fly traps. The first is a pheromone lure, and these contain an odour that attracts the male Queensland fruit fly. Secondly, food-based traps. These traps contain a protein which attracts both females and males, but especially the hungry female. Thirdly, fruit-scented traps. These traps smell like a ripening piece of fruit and attract pregnant females looking for a place to lay their eggs. Following the instructions on the trap will help you work out what time of the year to use it, how many traps you'll need, and how to set it up. Check your traps weekly and refresh them often. Make sure you've got the pheromone traps set up for spring and the protein and the scent-based traps set up before there is ripe fruit. Occasionally, traps catch other pests too, but that's okay. Just look for the insects with the yellow markings of the Queensland fruit fly. Cut open your crops and check for maggots. Trapping and monitoring is only one part of Queensland fruit fly control. Good garden hygiene is an essential step to help reduce the risk and spread of Queensland fruit fly. And you can use a baiting program and exclusion netting to help keep your crops safe. Harvest fruit before it falls. This will stop the maggots getting into the ground to pupate. And do not put suspected fruit into the compost or green waste bin, as the maggot will survive and the life cycle could continue. Instead, pop the suspect fruit into a plastic bag and freeze this until it's frozen solid. Or boil the fruit for 10 minutes and then you can pop it into your normal garbage bin. Unmanaged fruit trees are a haven for Queensland fruit fly. So if you don't want to be harvesting from them and maintaining them, it's best that you remove them. Or you could look into volunteer fruit harvesting groups to help maintain and harvest your fruit trees, like the Darebin Fruit Squad. Prune fruit trees that you want to keep to a manageable height. This will make harvest and netting easier. Exclusion netting like this works best if it doesn't touch the fruit. So here I've created a ring of star pickets around the tree and attached some flexible pipe to create a frame. The exclusion netting slides over right down to the ground, or it can be sealed at the trunk. Netting bags of all sizes are also an option. Remember, your net needs to go on after pollination and check it throughout the season for any rips. A baiting program is really important to reduce the numbers of fruit fly in your area. Bait is a mixture of insecticide with food that fruit flies find irresistible. Bait is usually applied as droplets onto the leaves and branches of plants in the garden, avoiding fruit. Directions and safety precautions are on the label. Controlling Queensland fruit fly is a community effort. Together we can take action to control it in our own gardens and prevent it from becoming established here in Darebin.